Let's talk about something we all know we need to be using in our InDesign files, but many of us are not. And I'm talking about styles, specifically paragraph and character styles. I don't know why they scare some people, but I promise that they're not that scary, and they really will make your life easier. Getting in the habit of using styles is a best practice for even your shortest of documents. It's a must for longer documents, and it's the foundation for well crafted ebooks. People always ask me, why do I need to use styles? First of all, they ensure consistency across your document, and they make changes and updates a snap. And of course, unless you like coding CSS from scratch, you'll need to use them when you create EPUBs and other ebook files. A lot of people are confused when it comes to using a paragraph style versus using a character style. And I like to think of it in terms of constructing a house. Every part of the house is basically the same underneath. You've got your wood framing, your drywall, your insulation, etc. Paragraph styles are like that. They're the main elements of your type in terms of styling. They contain paragraph level formatting like alignment, spacing, and hyphenation. But they also contain character formatting like font choice, font size, color, and leading. And going back to our house under construction analogy, now it's time for us to put on the decor, the bits that go on top of the base. The paint, the wall texture, things like that. The decor is what gives each room its character. See what I did there? Character styles are applied on top of paragraph styles, and they contain the little changes, the differences from the paragraph styles. My character styles are usually fairly simple, things like italic, bold, or blue. But how do we get started building that foundation, our paragraph style? Well, for me, I like to start with some styled text. So in this example, I have some text here, and I'm going to do a little bit of styling. It's pretty much styled how I want it, but I'm going to add a little bit of styling, and I'm going to create a paragraph style based on that. So right now, remember, I need to add in text and character formatting into my paragraph style, and we'll see why in a second. So right now, I'm just going to take my text, and I'm just going to select a chunk of text, all right, just so I have something to work with. And the reason I'm styling it first is because I don't want to have to fill in all the attributes in the paragraph style. I want to be able to style the text and say, hey, I like that. Let's make a paragraph style on that. We can always make changes on the fly later. The real thing I want to do right now is just actually in my paragraph settings in my control panel, I just want to add a little bit of extra space after my paragraph. So I just want to have a little bit of space in between because remember, we want to avoid hard returns in between paragraphs. All right, so I've got this all set up and I decide this is how I want my text to look. I play with the size, the leading, the color, everything like that. And I want to create a new paragraph style. So I go to my paragraph style panel and I'm going to Option or Alt click on the new style button. And that way it automatically forces open the new paragraph style dialog. And I'm just going to call this body text. And as you can see, there's a lot of information that's already in here. And that's because that's how we've styled the text. And it automatically put that into the paragraph style. So I'm not going to do anything else to that. I'm just going to say body text and say OK. So now I have formatting that's set up for this paragraph style. Now, one thing I didn't do was tell it to apply that paragraph style to the selection. I want to actually select everything. I'm going to do a Command or Control A to select all, and I want to assign that body text style to it. We shouldn't see any changes, but at least now it's been assigned. All right, so now I've assigned body text to that particular style. Now I want to make a paragraph style. I want to make a paragraph style for the places where I need to add a little decor on top, something that's bold or italic. If you notice, I already have one called italic. Let's create one called bold. When I do character styles, I tend not to have any text selected at all, and that way I'm not forcing that information into that character style. So I'm just going to deselect. I can either select or choose the selection tool, or I can just hit escape to get out of the type tool. And I'm just going to make sure I have nothing selected at all. I'm going to come over to the character style panel, Option or Alt click on the new style, and let's just call this one bold. And I have no information in here at all. That's because I have nothing selected. I'm going to go over to the basic character formats, and I'm just going to come in here to font style, and I'm going to choose bold. I'm either going to type it or choose something from the pull-down menu. If you notice, I have a lot to choose from in that pull-down menu, and that's because certain fonts have different faces. Some might say bold, some might say medium, some might say semi-bold. So keep in mind, if you have a font that uses the term semi-bold, or maybe they use the term oblique instead of italic, you need to make sure that your paragraph styles contain fonts that use the same sort of terminology. Bold's pretty common. I'm going to choose bold. And that's the only thing I'm going to do. When I go back to the general pane, I can look and see that the only setting I've used is bold. And I'm going to say OK. And so now I can come in here and I can apply bold to whatever I want. I've already got the paragraph style body text, and I'm just going to select some type. And I'm going to assign the paragraphs or character style bold. So now it's bold. It's a little hard to see. Let's actually use the italic, even though we just made the bold one. We'll use italic so we can see it a little better. And the reason I did that instead of telling it it was trebuchet bold is because now I might want to go back and change my paragraph style to something else, and the font will change along with it. So in this case, if I just put my cursor inside my first paragraph, again, to make paragraph changes, you only need to have your cursor in the paragraph. Put the cursor in there, and I'm going to come over here and choose body text 2. And when I do that, that paragraph will change to the style I've set up as paragraph, or it was body text 2. And you notice the font changed, but where we had the bold or the italic character style applied, it also changed. If I had told it in the character style that it was trebuchet italic, it would still be trebuchet italic, but we don't want that. We want it to change to the font that's set up in body text 2. All right, so the only time I ever do add a font to a character style is if that character style is actually a font, something different. I use this a lot if I want to have dingbats, for instance, in my text. So my character style might only be dingbat. That might be the only thing I do. Let's create a new character style. I have nothing selected, and I might just call this dingbats. And I would just come down here to the basic character formats, and I would just choose Zaf dingbats or whatever I need to choose. That way, when I type with that, if I say let's do 3 and a space, something along those lines, and if I apply the dingbat character style to that, it changes to a check mark. But I'm still using my same paragraph style. Let's apply paragraph style 2 to that. All right, so I've just applied that paragraph style to that entire paragraph, but my dingbat stays the same. So that's the one time I actually use a font inside my character style. And from there, I'd probably create new paragraph styles based on other paragraph styles. I might have one that needs check marks or dingbats in it and one that doesn't. And I would probably incorporate something like that character style into a nested style. And I will be actually covering nested styles in a future module. So I hope that clears up some of the mystery, if you will, surrounding paragraph and character styles and helps you get started using this practice, because like I said, it really comes in handy, and I hope that helps. Thanks.